Coming up, severe storms affect the region for the second day in a row.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The weather is much calmer now after severe storms earlier in the day for the second day in a row. Meteorologist Evan Hatter has more on what to expect overnight. Evan?
Well, the good news, Steve, is it looks like we are calming things down as we run through the overnight hours after a busy afternoon and evening around the mountains. Outside, you see, we've calmed down. We had a little bit of lightning on the Pikeville Medical Center camera a little bit earlier this evening. Upper 60s at this moment. You can almost see the fog already setting in around the region. Here's a look at Pinpoint Doppler, much calmer. No watches, no warnings in effect right now, and that is the good news. We've watched a couple of pop-ups since our last severe storms went away a couple of hours ago, but we've watched a few pop-ups, and we can still see a couple of those overnight. You notice one near the Buckhorn area moving up into parts of southern Breathitt County. That will likely have some brief gusty winds, some heavy rain with it as that pushes toward the Canoe area. Still a severe thunderstorm warning just outside of our area north of Mount Sterling, but that storm is also losing its punch as it continues to scoot off to the north and east, and everything here has been scooting off to the north and east. It's still mild outside, middle and upper 60s. How about areas that haven't seen a whole lot of rain today? It's still 78 in Monticello at 11 o'clock on May 19th. It is a muggy atmosphere out there. Dew points in the 60s. We'll continue to see scattered showers and storms pop up overnight, but the severe weather threat likely is continuing to diminish. I'll have the very latest, though, on when hot weather moves into the mountains coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. A Whitley County grand jury cleared Kentucky State Police Trooper Samuel Aaron Peace of any wrongdoing in a January shooting. That shooting happened during a hostage incident in Emlyn. On January 15th, Carl Amos Moses reportedly assaulted his wife with a handgun and refused to let her and their children leave the home. After officers tried to negotiate, Moses allegedly pointed a firearm at law enforcement officers. Peace fired his weapon, striking Moses and ending the incident. Addiction Recovery Care, commonly known as ARC, is a 36 treatment center network of recovery facilities across Kentucky, but mainly here in the mountains. For an upcoming Issues and Answers, I spoke with ARC founder and CEO Tim Robinson. WYMT's Zach Hawk highlights a few of the major points from our conversation.
Tim Robinson says he was guided by faith and personal experience following the death of his mother when he founded ARC.
I was using alcohol to cope with the trauma of her loss. It had a hold on me, and the whole idea that we can quit on our own just isn't the reality with a disease like addiction.
Today, ARC employs about 1,100 people, but the organization began small.
There was no plan in the beginning. We were just trying to get a 16-bed grassroots ministry open back in 2008 when we started. We opened the first facility, Karen's Place, in 2010.
In April, Robinson attended Operation Unite's Prescription Drug Abuse and Heroin Summit, speaking with the nation's Director of Drug Control Policy, Rahul Gupta.
He realizes that this is going to take a comprehensive approach.
An approach, Robinson says, includes finding employment for people in active recovery, supporting law enforcement, and advocating treatment, recovery, and prevention at an early age.
Many people are people with a brain disease that have fallen into addiction, that need help and need a way out, and I've never seen anybody too far gone to recover.
Before the pandemic, yearly overdose rates were on the decline. The pandemic reversed that trend, and Robinson hopes ARC will help bring the numbers back down. In Hazard, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
You can hear more from Robinson Monday evening at 7 here on WYMT on Issues and Answers. For people battling addiction, ARC manages an addiction help hotline at 888-815-4330. Several leaders in rural journalism met to discuss issues in areas like Appalachia at Hazard Community and Technical College this evening. Al Cross, director of the University of Kentucky Institute for Rural Journalism and Community Issues, moderated the panel. The discussion centered on how to continually serve rural communities and the challenges local newspapers and television stations are dealing with.
Every locality, every place that elects local officials, as Kentuckians did this week, needs a reliable local news outlet to report on those officials, to hold them accountable, and to inform citizens about the candidates in the next election.
Thursday's panel is the final in the Kentucky Humanities Council's Democracy and the Informed Citizen series. WYMT's General Manager Neil Middleton joined regional editor for Appalachian newspapers Russ Cassidy and Jay Nolan, CEO of the Nolan Group, which publishes newspapers in several smaller communities. Dakota Makers and I attended tonight, and it was a great discussion. A federal judge in Louisville is extending the temporary injunction against the state's newest abortion law. The law banned abortions after 15 weeks and created more regulations for providers. That included documentation rules that do not yet exist. Kentucky has 2 abortion clinics. Both are in Louisville. Officials there say the new regulations effectively shut them down. A federal judge ruled that the state cannot enforce the key provisions of the new law until new rules and regulations are adopted. London Laurel Rescue Squad officials say they were called to a home at Somerset Road along the Rockcastle River in London by the Pongo Fire Department for overdue kayakers. While on their way to the home, they say they learned one woman in the group was having a seizure. Crews found the kayakers about 2 miles upstream and helped lead them to the 1956 bridge, where the woman could be further evaluated by medical personnel. No word on her condition. The Mountain Parkway Expansion is expected to be a 5-year project, but Transportation Secretary Jim Gray believes it could be done sooner than that. In Wolfe County, the project to widen the parkway to 4 lanes was awarded to construction 6 months ahead of schedule. Secretary Gray says this project is at the top of Governor Andy Beshear's to-do list for several reasons.
To continue to bring economic prosperity to Eastern Kentucky. And what that represents, of course, is connections for people to schools, to health care, to jobs, allows people to move often from county to county.
Secretary Gray says once the expansion is complete, it will provide more economic opportunities. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 15,000 lives are saved each year by wearing a seatbelt. The state's Click It or Ticket campaign hopes to keep it that way or perhaps save even more. The campaign kicks off Monday. Police tell us they never want to write a ticket for someone not wearing their seatbelt, but at the end of the day, what matters most is you making it home safely.
And if we do write a ticket, you know, maybe it would save their lives on their way home after that one interaction.
806 people died in car crashes last year in Kentucky. Perry County Sheriff Joe Engel tells us half of the deadly crashes in his county could have been avoided if people were just wearing seatbelts. First responders gathered in Pikeville today for National Law Enforcement Memorial Week, otherwise known as Police Week, a time to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice and died in the line of duty. Along with first responders, there were several city officials, family members, and other members of the community who said those who have died and those who risked their lives should always be remembered.
As we go throughout our lives every day, it's important for us to remember people who give for us and people who put themselves out in the world and on the line for us every day.
Trimble also said the Pikeville police officers are great role models for the kids in the school district to look up to, and is thankful for the relationship the schools have with local police. Keeping with the theme of showing appreciation for those who have and continue to serve, Pulaski County leaders and Kinetic by Windstream representatives gathered today to unveil a mural titled Lady Liberty. It was painted on the Kinetic by Windstream retail store in downtown Somerset and will overlook the Veterans Park, which is still under construction.
In Somerset and Pulaski County, we have never fully paid tribute to our veterans, the umbrella of freedom that they provide for us. We have various monuments and statues, but we actually don't have a park that people can spend time in reflecting on their service, paying tribute to those who have come before us and those who have served.
Girdler adds that the park should be completed in 2 months. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, a match made in heaven for a local food truck and Louise's Noah Thompson. See how the two partnered to make sure more students would have the chance to find their own voice.
And hot weather is on the way back as we head into the end of the work week, and more storms follow that. Details ahead.
When it's more than just your lawn, it deserves the Kubota Z